Hello and thank you for joining College 2 Consulting. Today's class is called Crafting a Concise Cover Letter That Makes You a No-Brainer. Okay, cover letters. So what are cover letters? Cover letters are essentially an introductory letter that you write to a company expressing how you met them, why you think they're amazing, why you're amazing, and then your plans to follow up. And I get this question from students all the time. Is it worth it? Do I need to write a cover letter? My answer is always yes. And here's the reason why. A cover letter, and you should never copy and paste a cover letter. I hate that. The reason is because you have the risk of maybe putting in a wrong company name. Maybe you put in Bain when you meant BCG because you copied and pasted from another cover letter. Also, if you copy and paste it, it ends up looking very, very, very generic. And it's very easy to read this and to figure out what is just copy and pasted because it's not specific to my company at all. And this is when I used to screen cover letters. I would just see these ones that were so generic and just say this person didn't do any research on the company. This means nothing. So my thing is, yes, do a cover letter, but do it correctly. Okay, it takes you maybe 30 minutes to write a cover letter, and it might be the leading edge that puts you over your clone who has a very, very similar resume. If you have a similar resume and a cover letter and you have one spot left, you might get chosen because of that cover letter. Okay, so cover letters are your first paper impression. And here is the structure of a cover letter. It's your date, company address, introductory paragraph, which is how you met the company or how you found out about them, why the company is awesome, why you're awesome, and then you follow up. So let's talk through each of these sections a little bit more. Introduction. Say when you met the company. I had the pleasure of meeting this company at the career fair, or I saw this company online, or I know this person who knows this company. You talk about that. Okay, you say who do you know, why do you know this company, where did you find out about this company. Okay, now this section, why the company is awesome. This requires you to do some homework, which you should be doing anyway, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Why do you like the company? Be honest. You say I like the company. I really like McKinsey because you guys are very into growth strategy and very great brand name, and you work with the best type of clients, and you say all this stuff. Then what you want to do is you want to mention some cool stats or stories that you know about the company. For instance, I know that Cambridge Group, you guys did work with Tropicana, where you did this launch, you did work with Bud Light Lime, and you say all this stuff. If you do that, this is where you will show that you did some research, and it's not a generic cover letter. When it's stuff like, I researched your company, it was amazing, I really like the work and the people, that doesn't mean anything. But if you say stuff like, I really like how you helped the launch of Bud Light Lime and you found a new market for sweet beer, that is not something you copy and paste in every cover letter, which means that is something that I notice, meaning that is something that I will carry on, okay? So really do some research about the company and why it's awesome. And remember, each of these is only a paragraph long. Next section is why you are awesome. So why do you think you fit? I think I would be a great fit because I also have very analytical skills, or I have management skills. I developed them by this internship, and that's about it. And you want to keep this section just as long as maybe why the company is awesome section. Don't make it bigger than why the company is awesome. Make them pretty equal. And another thing is highlight skills that you know will be needed for the job. If you are going to be going for an analytical position, talk about your analysis and talk about any analysis that you've done with past work or past internships. Okay, you don't really need to go into marketing then. But if you're on the flip side and you're going with a company that is more about management, then you should be talking about management and probably less about IT stuff, okay? The last part is following up. You say, I hope to hear back from you. If I don't hear back, I will follow up in 2 weeks. Just say that. Just put it out there. It's a nice polish at the end. Shows that you will to follow up in that way. If you don't hear any response, you kind of already prefaced it by putting it into your cover letter, okay? So let's write a cover letter together. As I mentioned before, you have your name, middle, last name, contact information such as your street and your cell phone and professional email address. Okay, then you have the date, the company name, the company address, and you can say, Dear Human Resources. Okay, or if you know the specific group, you can say that group too. So then what we're going to do is say, my name is this name, and I'm writing to express my interest in the position of analyst or whatever at Y company. I first heard about your company at the career fair or from a friend or whatever, and your company, whatever, sounds like a fantastic place to work, and I think it could help I could help your business meet its goals. That's the introductory paragraph. Next, we go into why company is awesome. Company X has a lot of great qualities. I really like the type of work Company X does. For instance, and you mentioned an example that you found. Secondly, the people and the culture are fantastic. I've spoken to several current employees about growth, travel, whatever you want to say. And I'm also really impressed by the research and experience Company X has in Z. Z is transportation, energy, consumer packaged goods, retail, whatever you want to say. For instance, I read in one of your white papers titled blah, 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 that, and then you talk about that white paper. Okay? Next paragraph. I really think that I can help your company meet its goals. For instance, I developed a lot of analytical skills when I interned at this other company. For example, I also have management and leadership skills that I developed by doing this one. For example, and then you give another example. So here we have 3 paragraphs: introduction, why the company is awesome, why you are awesome. Okay? And lastly is thank you for taking time to consider my application. I look forward to hearing from you shortly. If I do not hear back from you in 2 weeks, I'll follow up just to see if there's anything else you will need from me. Very polite, not aggressive, follow up. Sincerely, you. Last. Okay? That's an introduction on how to write a cover letter. So now that you know this, you should write cover letters. And my absolute biggest recommendation for writing cover letters is write it before you start recruiting. If you could write it in the summer and you're recruiting in the fall, now what happens is you have a draft. So all you need to do is update it real quickly, send it out to the different companies in the fall when you start recruiting. Resumes are always the same for those companies, but cover letters have to be distinct. So if you can write it early, it saves you time instead of rushing to meet the deadline of resume submission. Okay? All right. So we've gone over resumes and cover letters. Take a shot at doing it on your own and see if it can meet this framework. All right. Thanks.